Hey, my fellow Schneider drivers, I do not want you to get into trouble. And I want you to learn from my mistakes so you don't have to learn mistakes the hard way. The first thing I want you to do is go to your black permit book and get out your insurance card, okay? My insurance card is expired, okay? You can and will get a ticket for an expired insurance card. So, this expired, let's see, March 1st of 2021. We're into April, so I know I'm not the only one because I met 4 other Schneider drivers today that have had expired insurance cards. So what do? You call regulatory, call them, and if you don't know the number, get out your orange pumpkin pad and get the number, or call your DBL and they will direct you to regulatory. Get them to send you an updated insurance card to your email or wherever. I want you to check your insurance card right now. Secondly, while you're at it, check your registration, okay? My registration expired March 31st, 2021. I also got that sent to my email from regulatory. I'm not perfect, so I try to keep my permit book up to date. When they come out with the updates, I go through it every time and I update my permit book. I'm usually on top of it, but I slipped. I slipped, I don't know, because I've been busy, but the insurance cards have expired and my registration has expired. Luckily, I did not get a ticket or a warning or anything. The problem was discovered before it came to that, but you will get tickets, and I don't want anybody to get a ticket. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I know the permit book, you know, it's, especially if you're a new driver, you have so much on your mind. You got the tablet, and you got you're driving, and luckily for most of you, you're not driving manual transmissions, because when I started I had a 10-speed I was dealing with on top of everything. Yeah, your permit book, it's up to you to keep this up to date. And what's your motivation to keep this up to date? Tickets. You don't want tickets. Nobody wants tickets. And you will get tickets, especially California, which I'm in most of the time. They're ticket happy, but other states will give you tickets too. I've had my hazmat ever since I started driving, and I've probably done maybe 20-something hazmat loads. I do like doing them, but something came up this time that has me second thinking about this hazmat endorsement. It was potentially hazmat. I got to the customer, and the customer told me that it was not a hazmat load, that there was no hazardous materials in the load. And I was like, there's no hazmat? And he's like, no. And I said, no placards? And he's like, no. And they loaded the truck. I watched them load it. It was totes, empty containers that once had held hazardous materials. I watched them load it. If there was anything in the totes, it was residue. But I did complete my hazardous material call. There's a check call that you call to the hazardous materials department, and they're supposed to verify everything and make sure. So I called the hazmat, and long story short, I said the shipper says it's not hazmat, and I said the containers they put on were empty. And the first person I talked to spoke very poor English, so I actually requested to talk to someone else, and they did. They put me through someone else. I explained the whole situation. I went over the bills, and they told me to go ahead, that it wasn't hazmat. So I took the load. The shipper told me it wasn't hazmat. The hazmat call told me it wasn't hazmat. So I assumed that it wasn't hazmat. So I took this load and delivered it. Well, I get a phone call about 2 weeks later. Hey, you remember that hazmat load that you did? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you should not have done that. And I'm like, well, you know, everybody, the shipper's telling me it's not hazmat. The hazmat department telling me it's not hazmat. I mean, how, so now I'm like thinking, man, if I would have got pulled over, I could have been in big trouble. If there was an accident, I could have lost my CDL, I could have gone to jail. So I'm really having second thoughts about renewing my hazardous material endorsement when I go get my license renewed this summer. it's a headache, and I'm not sure that it's really worth the money. So I'm really on the fence about hazmat, getting my endorsement redone. I just don't know. I'm just not. I'm looking at the drawbacks compared to the benefits, and it's just this dangerous. So, do any of you have your hazardous materials endorsements, and what's your opinion on it? Is it worth keeping? Do you enjoy it? Have you had any issues where you've been lied to by shippers? Things like that. That's it for today. Friendly Bill. Check you on the fit.